Attention! Go!
Then on the right-hand side as you look, and Deerfield on the left, it's a pretty even start.
I love the start. You go from silence to noise and effort and power as the crews go off, and the nerves immediately drop away. Second, third, fourth stroke into the race, and you're suddenly in the pattern and finally able to start, at the end of a very long day of waiting nervously, able to start doing your job for the day.
Haverford, if anything, in terms of steering, moving slightly from right to left, closer to the Deerfield crew, but endangering no one. They've straightened up now, and we see that they're pretty well side by side over the first 100 metres plus.
Could be a good race. I think the Princess Elizabeth, the top of Haverford Schools here, often produces excellent racing, and if you're watching in the US, we know many times crews get together to watch around the screen and cheer their oarsmen on. This has all the makings of a good clash to begin with. The Fords go forwards with the gold blades, and the crew from Deerfield Academy rowing neck and neck as the shot from alongside shows some pretty good, long, solid strokes. Both crews in a good rhythm at this stage.
Haverford School marginally the heavier. 12.5 plays 12.1 for what that's worth. But it is Deerfield, I think, though the angle is sometimes a little deceptive. I think it is Deerfield on the far side of that shot who have an advantage.
And just looking, Deerfield on the far side, just looking to be a little bit livelier, a little bit sharper, and getting a bit of an advantage for all that. Haverford a bit more belaboured, maybe they put a bit too much effort in early on, now struggling as they can feel Deerfield moving away from them.
Deerfield, I'm reading here, traditionally races Cox 4s during its season, so this, in a sense, is a bit of a composite crew. Not necessarily on familiar territory, as it were, but finding a way.
Yeah, there's a real difference in feel between these boats, as you can imagine. The weight of one Cox shared amongst 4 athletes versus 8 athletes. The 8 has just got a faster move to it. You need to be quicker to connect with the water. Remember, what you're trying to do here is move the boat past the oar in the water. The oar kind of stays stationary, and you're levering the boat past that, and so the 8 feels livelier and quicker. Still connected to each other here, though. Not quite as much lead as the early part of the race might have suggested that Deerfield would be able to get, and they're rowing pretty much stroke for stroke now through the middle of the course. Lovely shot from overhead. You can see the timing. Both crews quite well drilled, and rowing together reasonably well as they get pretty tired at this stage. It's hard to hold the concentration, hold the form, and time everything with each other.
Very young crew, the Deerfield crew, including at number 4 James Patton, who's only 15, and the Cox Owen Lewis, who's still 3 months short of his 17th birthday. I'm reading about him. Said he started rowing last year and then halfway through this season switched to being a Cox. I thought fairly early on in life your body told you whether you were a Cox or an oarsman.
But it's great to see. Some of the best Coxes actually did start out as rowers, and maybe just didn't quite put on the pounds like the rest of us, but it does give you a good feel. You know, the job of the Cox is partly to give information, what's the stroke weight, where are we in the course, partly to give motivation. You know, you've still got the other crew in sight, it's still possible from this point, and partly to be a coach technically and individually for all the athletes. And you can see here, as I said, 2 pretty well drilled crews through the middle of the course, but it looks like Deerfield now have a commanding position and are able to relax a little bit more into their rhythm.
On the bow for Deerfield, Andrew Peck, who's led us into the secret of his success as well. Before every race he recites the lines from the movie The Grey. Once more into the fray, into the last good fight I'll ever know. Live and die on this day, live and die on this day. So he clearly means it. He also uses the catchphrase that the boat has adopted: exploit the myth. There must be a Deerfield myth. I don't think this is myth though, this is clearly reality. They're a length or 2 up.
Well, it takes all sorts, whatever it takes to achieve your best performance. I always think let your blade do the talking, but each to his own.
Deerfield now will find the cheers of the swelling crowd, music to their collective ear, indicating as it is that they've broken the back of the race and indeed of their American opponent, and have a Thursday at Henley to look forward to. So much emotional energy geared towards simply competing on a Wednesday. I guess when you wake up on day 2 and think, hey, we're still in it, that's a pretty special feeling.
Yeah, it's great. Every day's a new day, and getting through from one to the next is fantastic. It's a really tough day when you're racing this late in the day. It's now after 7 UK time, so these crews have been up for an awfully long time trying to distract themselves from the coming race, the pain, the challenge, and the truth out through this competition.
Well, they're going to be in another American derby tomorrow, because they face Kent School, who we saw beat Monckton Combe a short while ago. So possibly there'll be a greater familiarity of the opponent than might have been the case had they come up against British opposition.
Great tradition, this Princess Elizabeth Cup. It's a 71-year-old race. We've often seen fantastic American crews coming to compete with the best of the Brits, probably those two nations dominating in the race. And so there's going to be some great competition throughout the week. Tune into the Princess Elizabeth for some of the best junior rowing you'll see.
Well, that is some of the best junior rowing you'll see from Deerfield Academy, who eased away really from the outset against the Haverford School and were winners by 2 or 3 lengths in the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup. And Deerfield Academy will be involved again on the Thursday of Henley Week.